What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be reviewing a beautiful fantasy. This is the Nomadic Glam collection from Florasis, and they have sent me this in PR. This is the third time I've received PR from Florasis, so I want to thank Florasis so much for considering me as someone to send PR to. I'm always honest when it comes to the products that I review. If something doesn't work for me, then I'll say it to everybody. So far, with all the PR that I've gotten, I actually really enjoyed every single product that I've gotten so far. Last year, they did send me a palette and a lipstick. So I am quite familiar with the Florasis eyeshadow formula, which is helpful for this review. They also sent me some skincare items last year, so 3 makeup removers. And one of the makeup removers should have been in my 2023 best of video. I want to give a little bit shout out and maybe like an apology that I forgot to include it. But the makeup wipes, so the dual makeup wipes from Florasis, this was such a game changer for me during the holidays. I've used them up so fast. There is a side that is used for the face and a side that you can clean your eyes with. And this was such a ingenious way to present a makeup wipe. Typically, I'm not a makeup wipe person, but on a holiday, I typically wear less makeup, and a makeup wipe is often just what I gravitate towards, you know, like you're much lazier when it comes to like a summer holiday, like a sun holiday. You're not wearing a lot of makeup. You just want to take off your makeup pretty quickly, then go into your routine. So a makeup wipe was definitely the way to go. And these makeup wipes were so awesome. They're actually in my cart right now. I do think I'm going to repurchase them next time I'm going to go on a holiday. But I wanted to give a little bit of shout out to my previous PR packages that I got from them, and a little bit of an apology that I didn't include them in my favorites video. But for the Nomadic Glam collection, they're selling another fantasy. It's the Nomadic Glam Fantasy. Out of these 7 new products that they launched, they sent me 5, so I have a full face ready for you guys. Additionally to the products that they launched, they also sent me, for example, the bag. This is what I mean with Florasis sells a fantasy. They give you the entire experience, so this is probably the bag that you would get like maybe in a store or something. You definitely already have the feels of like what the Nomadic Glam is all about. It's giving you faux leather, it's giving you horses, it's giving you a certain vibe, and I'm really living this fantasy. When I saw the photos of this collection on Trendmood, I gagged. Now, Florasis is all about putting Chinese beauty on the map, traditional Chinese culture. So this is part of the Chinese culture, and luckily they also given me like a pamphlet. So if you see me reading off something with all of the products on here, I'm reading off this pamphlet. So it says the Nomadic Glam is inspired by the traditional Ulzi pattern. This emblematic knot symbolizes knowledge, wealth, happiness, good karma, and will be your companion as you venture into the unknown. Now, as someone that just recently went into a divorce, I definitely gravitate towards this text. I feel a connection towards this text. It says the complete collection is a sensorial beauty creations and practical leather goods. Nomadic Glam was created for the dynamic, graceful, and restless, and resilient. It's also important to note that on the website it says the art of leather carving. It's a sustainable style with our state-of-the-art artificial leather technology. This product offers the timeless appeal of leather carving, dedicated to vegan and eco-friendly practices. And look at the beautiful model on here with the horse. Like I said, it's selling a fantasy. This pamphlet, you know, the bag with the little tassel that you can take off, and you can put this somewhere else, like on a bag, for example, or in your car. Then next that they sent me, which is also like a funny part of the collection, and this is again selling the fantasy, is they have one of these fragrance scented tassels. Like they really thought about everything. They thought about packaging. They thought about like how to present everything. They thought about scent. They thought about feel. Everything is embossed. Everything is leather coated. Now, the first product that they sent to me that I got absolutely excited for were these hair clips. I've never owned like makeup hair clips before, and this is just jewelry. This is jewelry for the hair. I will say I am basically balding. Like this divorce, really, like the amount of hair that I lost, and it's currently like regrowing, is insane. My hair is very thin and thinning right now, and I just lost a lot of it. And these hair clips are definitely more for someone with sturdy and thick hair. So if you are someone that has sturdy and thick hair, you would probably love these hair clips. I'm still keeping them though because I'm obsessed with this fantasy. Now in terms of makeup items, they've sent me a pressed powder. They sent me the Flawless Jade Breathable Pressed Powder in the shade 2, which is a translucent matte. This is a weightless powder that glides over the skin with minimal fallout for almost undetectable soft matte finish. Now in terms of a fantasy, this comes in a beautiful casing. It has that leather embossing. This is aluminum kind of pressed in there. It's a plastic packaging, so it's not that heavy. It has a really nice clasp system. It's really easy to open, and you get this beautiful white powder. And they also included a powder puff. The powder puff has a pink side and it's really easy to use. And you could just press this in there. In the demo that I did, actually the powder puff worked much better than when I was using my dedicated powder brush. So I use the BK Beauty 113 brush typically for an everyday experience, but this one worked so much better with the powder puff. This retails for $46 US, so it's quite an expensive powder. It has a 12-month shelf life, and the nice thing about these Florasis products is you can actually see the expiration date on here. The powder did a really great job in blurring my problematic areas, and the powder puff is soft and works really well to just work this powder in. It's probably one of the most lightweight powders that I've ever felt. It almost feels like you're putting nothing on the skin. Then the next product that they sent me was a blush. This is a smaller compact than the powder that they sent. It's a similar style of compact with a similar design, except this one of course is brown, and it has a similar closure and clasp system. Also very easy to open. Now this one, it says it's the Peony Dream Cream Blush. This is in the shade Morning Rays, and it is a sun-kissed red. On the pamphlet, it says the smoothest blendable blush starts with a fusion of moisturizing ingredients and rich pigment. You can use this on the cheeks with a brush, a sponge, or your fingers, and then blend upwards. Now in the demo, I kind of went in with a big brush because in the swatch, this one was so pigmented. I was a little afraid that maybe it would be too pigmented, but in the end, using a bigger brush, so I decided to go for this BK Beauty 111 brush. In the end, it was really nice and it was very easy to blend out. You can also build it up in pigment. I actually would really recommend this blush for people that like a more pigmented blush because you can build this one up. And if you are darker, deeper in skin tone, I actually think that this one will show up on you as well. It's small, so this one actually, it says it's a 2.8 grams of net weight. It also on the back says it's 12-month shelf life, and it has the date as well, just like the powder. This one retails for $30, so it is quite small and it is quite pricey. You know, this is a luxury beauty brand, so the prices are going to be a little bit more up there. And look, the packaging is very unique. I have nothing like this in terms of blush packaging. So again, I'm really feeling the fantasy. Now I think the kind of showstopper of every collection is probably the eyeshadow palettes, and they did send me an eyeshadow palette as well. This is the Into the Wild palette that they sent me. I've seen a style palette like this before from Florasis, but this one of course is coming into that faux leather and has a little bit more detailing. So it has a larger style aluminum sequence on there, but it looks a lot like the blush packaging, also in the plastic. But this one has a few more studs, a few more sequins, and it has a similar closing. It's really easy to open because, as you can tell, this one has a divot in there, so you can open from all angles. And of course, like Florasis always does, has beautiful embossing. In here there are 4 mattes, 2 shimmers, and 1 glitter shade. And the glitter shade is of course the stunner of the palette, which is this one. This is the turquoise color that you see here represented on the eyes. The model in the photos has an eyeshadow look that I really wanted to mimic. So you'll see me trying to mimic this in the demo. What I did is I went into this first shade, which is the lightest one. This is shade number 1, Soft Sand, and I put it all over the eyelids. This is a color that looks exactly like my skin tone. So this color does not show up on me, but it is a great base if you just want to even out your eyelid and prep it for all of the other shadows. When you have smaller palettes like this, I can imagine not everybody enjoying a shade that looks exactly like their skin tone because there is not much real estate, and maybe you'd rather have another shimmer shade, for example. But personally, if the palette allows it, I do like shades like this one because you can also use this shade to blend out any harsh edges, for example. And again, laying down a base for all the rest of the shadows. So it is a well-performing shade, but does not show up on me. The second shade I went into is shade number 2. This one is a more yellow type of shade. The first one is a light brown. This is a matte orange yellow. And this shade is called Rich Earth. This one is very close to my skin tone as well, but you can actually see it when you build it up. And all the matte shades from Florasis, they're quite pressed hard into the pan. So there is very little kickback, but there also is very little pigments. You can build up the pigments somewhat, but you're gonna get a more soft glam eye look from this. And if you are someone that enjoys, for example, K-beauty shadows, then you'll probably like this matte formula. After going in with the second shade, so the Rich Earth shade, I decided to go into the middle shade. The middle shade is called Crushed Clay, a matte brick red. And the middle shade, the model has it all over the outer corners. And as you can tell, that's exactly what I did. I wanted to deepen out the outer corner, kind of deepening out the crease as well. I put it quite high up because I do want to have this shade as sort of like a way to contour and map out for all the other shades to come. And this is a very beautiful like red shade. Not all red shades look good on me, but this one, because it has a lot of orange in there, actually looks really beautiful. And it added a good amount of pigment to finally lay down some of the deeper shades. So the next shade I went into was the last matte. This is Fresh Topsoil. And here I kind of went into a motion of a V, deepening out the outer corners. It's not too pigmented, but you can get some definition out of this one, and it worked beautifully. This moment, like basically all the groundwork was done for my eyeshadow look, but what I wanted to do is I wanted to go in with the glitter shade. So we have 2 shimmer shades and 1 glitter shade, and I decided to go into the glitter shade first. I figure this is the one that probably needs to be diffused in the end, and from what I remember from the glitter shade from my previous romance palette was that 1, it's probably like my favorite formula from Florasis that they have, and 2, they're very buttery. So any embossing that you see in like my swatches video, my short, that embossing is completely gone. What's nice about this shade is it really showed up. Like this is such a nice pigmented glitter shade because of the pigment. Even if you're not into like artificial or sunlight, you still see all of that pigment, almost like a duochrome on the eyes. This performed really well with a brush, no fallout, worked really well. And as a like stunner shade of the palette, I'm so happy that this one is probably the best performing shade out of all of them. In the middle of my eye look, I decided to go into the highlighter shade. This is probably a bigger pan because you can use this as a face palette, so you can use this as a highlighter. I use it as a highlighter as well, but I put this on top of my eyelid with my finger and my inner corner with a brush. And I wanted to have a soft blend, so it's a nice color to sort of diffuse all of that blue because the blue was quite dark. And this one brightened up my eye so much. I think these 2 shades together are such a great look. These kind of pull a little bit cool, whereas the rest can pull a little warm. So having a sort of cold or warm tone palette is quite difficult, but these 2 shades are a must for this to happen. Before I forget to actually mention the names, this shade is called Midnight Waters. It's a dark turquoise glitter. And the shade here on the side, this one is a champagne shimmer called Golden Dewdrop. The only other shade that I didn't use just yet is this orange gold shimmer called Glittering Sunrise, and I decided to put this on top of all of the groundwork that I did, marrying all of it together. Like the model, I paired it with a eyeliner, a black liner, and some mascara. I think this turned out beautifully. I feel like I look like the model. If I forgot to say it, this retails for $55, so it is quite an expensive palette if this is not your style. But in terms of using all the colors and the way that the colors performed, I really enjoyed it. I'm someone that does enjoy a good like K-beauty shadow. I don't like very pigmented eye looks. So for me, this is a beautiful eye look, and this shade is just, it's a unique shade. You can go very warm toned with this one and just every day, but having these kind of like stunner colors in here, like the blue, makes it just a little bit more special in my collection. The last product that they sent to me was a liquid lip. This is the Blooming Rouge Ultra Smooth Satin Liquid Lipstick. This was interesting because in the swatch, on the hand, it actually felt like such a silicone type of product. This liquid lip retails for $30. It's the shade Sacred Warmth, and it's described as a milk tea brown. It says one swipe of lustrous color leaves a plush feel that dries down to a non-drying, comfortable lip. So I decided to just go in with the applicator itself and just do one layer. So this is one layer, and this is a stunning color. It's very comfortable. It is a matte, but it's very comfortable, very lightweight. And because of, I guess, maybe the silicone in there or something, like it doesn't feel very drying. The packaging is stunning. It's unique, but it's not as unique as the lipstick that they sent to me last year. I am a sucker for the embossing of the lipsticks, but in terms of a formula, this is a nice formula. So this is the final look. What do you guys think? Personally, I really like how this look actually came together. I had something in mind, the way that the model looks, and I do feel like I kind of nailed that down. Of course, I'm not like Eastern Asian. I don't have Eastern Asian features. I have Southeast Asian features. What I had in mind, I definitely got out of this one. So let me just walk you through all the things that they sent me. When it comes to powders, I'm not really into white powders like this one, but it is very soft, very thin. So I think I would recommend this for people with drier skin. And I do really like the powder puff that comes with it. If you do buy this one, then I would definitely recommend to keep the powder puff and not go over to a brush. It's very unique in packaging. So if you're enjoying the packaging and you're looking for a powder, this is a very beautiful luxury powder to have. The second product that they sent me was, of course, the blush. I think the blush is probably one of my favorites of the collection. Maybe my favorite. I really enjoyed the color. It blended out beautifully. It's pigmented enough for deeper skin tones, so it's more universally friendly. And it's quite a easy formula to work with. When you go in with a bigger brush like this one, there is some kickback into the pan, but it also means that there is quite a bit of pigment being deposited. It has a beautiful embossing, and the embossing still looks good. I think in terms of color, if you're a warm tone blush lover, you're probably gonna like a color like this one. This is great for the summertime as well. But for the wintertime, even today, I'm kind of like, yeah, this looks good. Like I'm just really impressed with this blush formulation. And this is probably my favorite. Yeah, I want to say this is my favorite item of the entire collection. Now, of course, the palette. Now, I love a good eyeshadow palette. I get most excited with eyeshadow palettes, but truth be told, I'm not someone that wears eyeshadow palettes a lot lately. I'm like definitely a one and done type of person. Now, this is a formula that I don't know if everybody will like. I think a very specific customer will like this formula. If you enjoy luxury eyeshadows, so Chanel or Dior, those all have kind of that soft pigment to them, then you're probably gonna like the mattes in here. If you like K-beauty style makeup, then you're probably gonna like the mattes in here as well. If you're someone more gravitating towards like a Pat McGrath or Natasha Denona, I actually think that you might find these too soft. They are buildable, but you can't build them up to the color that you see in the pan. They're just buildable to a certain degree. You can still use this and build up the outer corner. Like all the colors show up beautifully. All of the colors blend beautifully. They're quite hard pressed into the pan, so great for beginners, by the way, because there's like barely any way to over apply these. But I think there is a certain customer that enjoys palettes like this. I like the size of this palette much more. It fits in your hand, whereas the palette they sent me last year is a very large palette. I'm a smaller palette person, so for me, this is perfect. And what's also nice about these shadows is they're not just made for the eyes, you can use them for the face as well. So this is a very beautiful highlight, soft, not too glittery. And you can use this, of course, as a blush. So it's very strategic that they put this one as a bigger shadow as well, because you can use this as a face palette. In terms of the metallics in here, both of these on the side, they perform beautifully. I think that the shimmer formula from Florasis is probably one of my favorite ones. Like the glitter formula is probably my favorite of entire palette. So if you're obsessed with this shade in particular, this shade performs beautifully and it's so beautiful, like glittery on the eyes. All in all, for 55 USD, I think this is a luxury price point that we're looking at. I know that not everybody is willing to spend that type of money on an eyeshadow palette that is this small with 7 shades. But if you are used to like Charlotte Tilbury palettes, for example, those are super expensive. The Sash Denona palettes can be quite expensive as well. So I think in terms of its competitors and the way that it's set up with the packaging, with the embossing, I actually do think it is worth it. Lastly, we have the liquid lip. Now, I'm not a huge liquid lip person. To be completely honest, I like lip oils and lip balms because I have very dry lips, especially in the wintertime. But so far, what I can say, it's comfortable. It's probably one of the most comfortable liquid lips I've ever tried. It reminds me a little bit of the lip soufflés from Rare Beauty, except those were, I think, a little bit more drying, or maybe a little bit thicker. Maybe those were a little bit thicker. I used to have 2 in my collection. I decided to declare them, but this is smoothing and it's a really nice color. So I actually think that this is a beautiful liquid lip. And if you are a liquid lip person and you're looking for a comfortable matte, this is a great formula to have in your collection. Before I end the video, I want to thank Florasis one more time for sending all of these beautiful products to me even last year and giving me the opportunity to try new makeup. I'm a small channel, so the fact that there is a brand out there that recognizes my channel, it warms my heart. So really thank you, Florasis, so much. If you did like what you saw, I'm going to link everything down below. Those are going to be my affiliates. And if you do use one of my affiliates, it helps out my channel so much. And hopefully it helps on my channel that Florasis will continue wanting to send me stuff, because all of their launches are a fantasy and makeup should just be fun. This is fun. Like, everything they sent is always so fun. Also, do not forget that Florasis does have kits and gift sets. So there are specific gift sets with these items as well. And the bundles are a little bit cheaper than if you buy them individually. So I would highly suggest you to look at the website as well for the gift sets. I'll link the website down below as well. Anyway, guys, I want to thank you guys all so much for watching and being here with me and just trying on makeup and having fun. Subscribe to my channel if you want to see a little bit more Florasis or a little bit more luxury beauty. Comment down below if you have any questions regarding the products or you just want to nerd out about makeup. And of course, have a beautiful day, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.